Hi, I'm Rick with Stellar Living, and this is Ecclesiastes Chapter 3, verses 11 through 22. Verse 11, He has made everything appropriate in its time. He has also set eternity in their heart, yet so that man will not find out the work which God has done from the beginning, even to the end. As we have discussed in part 1, God has set a time for everything. We should trust in His timing and seek understanding and growth through every experience in life. To get a better understanding of what our author is trying to teach us, we'll go back to the 1611 version of the King James Bible. The text is much different from modern day text. It reads, He has set the world in their hearts so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from beginning to end. We can refer this portion of verse 11 to 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 12. It reads this way, Now we have received not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may know the things freely given to us by God. Only through the Spirit of God can we find out the works of God. Verse 12 reads this way, I know that there is nothing better for them than to rejoice and to do good in one's lifetime. Philippians chapter 4 verse 4 reads, Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. If we rejoice in Jesus and the things of the gospel, what better is there for us in this life? Verse 13, Moreover, that every man who eats and drinks sees good in all his labor. It is the gift of God. We must also give all the glory to God for every good thing in our life, understanding that the good from our labor is a gift from God. Verse 14, I know that everything God does will remain forever. There is nothing to add to it, and there is nothing to take from it. For God has so worked that man should fear Him. The works of God are eternal and made to perfection, where there is nothing man can add or take away to make it better. This really speaks to our soul as we think about man's quest for understanding and creating, our never-ending pursuit for improvement to the point of our own destruction. In our ambition, we contradict the perfect balance that is the creation of God. When we look at the world and all God has done, we should be in awe and see how minuscule we really are in comparison to the works of God. Verse 15, That which has been already and that which will be has already been, for God seeks what has passed by. We can look back to Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9, That which has been and that which will be, and that which has been done is that which will be done. So there's nothing new under the sun. Although these scriptures are very similar, the author is looking at things from a view of seeing life being meaningless or vanity to chapter 3, looking at things from God's timing and His perfect order. In verse 16, Furthermore, I have seen under the sun that in the place of justice there is wickedness, and in the place of righteousness there is wickedness. As we look at our world and the injustice we see daily, we come to the realization that our happiness is out of our control. We see that there are wicked leaders in positions of power. In verse 17, we read that even these deeds will be rectified by God, and perhaps God allows these things in order for us to learn humility and understand our own limits. Verse 17, I said to myself, God would judge both the righteous man and the wicked man, for a time for every matter and for every deed is there. Verse 18, I said to myself concerning the sons of man, God has surely tested them in order for them to see that they are but beasts. As we look at what we have become in its entirety, although God created us to His liking, we have become wicked and vile in our hearts, reducing ourselves to the level of an animal. Verse 19, for the fate of the sons of man and the fate of the beasts is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. Indeed, they all have the same breath, and there is no advantage for man over beast. All is vanity. In the end, our fate is the same as the animals in the world. We have no real advantage over the life of the beast. Given our nature, the human experience in contrast to the life of an animal is vanity. We all go to the same place and return to dust. Verse 20, all go to the same place. All came from the dust and all return to the dust. Verse 21, who knows that the breath of man ascends upward and the breath of the beast descends downward to the earth. Our author has determined that man is not superior to an animal, and here he questions how God deals with the spirit of both man and animal. Verse 22, I have seen that nothing is better than that man should be happy in his activities, for this is his lot. For who will bring him to see what will occur after him? Thinking about the experience of life in context to time and how man has no control over the timing of God or the occurrences of life, including the injustice and unrighteousness of those in power, it is best that we enjoy the present moment in making the best of what God has provided. And that's going to wrap it up for Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verses 11 through 22. I want to thank everybody for joining me today, and we'll be back next week with Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Thank you for watching.